Hello, welcome back to Escape with Feathers, part 6. Wow, they're flying by. Thanks so much for joining me again and for making your wings with me, and they're looking absolutely amazing. Again, if you pop over to hashtag Escape with Feathers on Instagram, you'll see everyone's examples of their beautiful feathers and feather cutting and how well they're getting on. So pop over there, have a look, compare, and then add the hashtag to yours as well. And everyone that I'm seeing has got to this point where they've feathered the back of their wing as well. And there's some beautiful ones again, and it's really good to see actually. The layering up just looks so good, and it's really good to see everyone's different interpretations, their different colours, there's all sorts of things going on, it's amazing. And today we're going to actually do the front of the wing. So we're going to go onto this nice fluffy textured, well, underside. I call it the front, I don't know why, but it's sort of exposed at the front when you see the owl from the front, but it's more the underside of the wing. And we're going to use some nice fluffy long cut feathers, which I hope you've got nice piles of. I've been practicing cutting. I'm going to go through quickly again on cutting those, but you should have a pile of those, and then your wing, or both of your wings, and scissors and glue, and template sheet number 1, and just to see where the feathers lay. And once you've got all those together, I'll bring you in and we're going to start. So we have our template sheet, we have our wing, we have our pile of fluffy feathers, our scissors, and we have our glue as well. That's all you're going to need for this section, because what we're going to be doing, as I said just now, done the back of the wing, what we're going to do is feather the front now, the underside, and cover up this wing support that we've created. So you just see lovely feathers all over your wing. And I'm going to run through quickly as well the cutting of these fluffy feathers for you. So the fluffy feathers are like these, they've got nice long tendrils on them, so they're not so much the shortcut, just fringe around the edge, you're cutting right through the feather shape itself. And I'll probably put one now, actually, a little photo for you to show you the close-ups of those. You're probably pretty good at this now, I imagine. I've seen lots of the pictures and they're looking fantastic. So you know exactly how it goes, you pinch between your finger and thumb, rounded edge facing you. With the long cuts, you don't so much go around the edge of your feather, you're actually going to cut long ways through your feather. Okay, so how that's going to work is you're still creating this machine with your scissors, but there's no turning of the feather. You're actually working your way sideways through the feather rather than around the feather, like that. Okay, I'll show you what I mean quickly now. And there's slightly longer cuts for this as well. So I'm still going to do the machining, still using the back of the scissors, but what I'm doing is I'm cutting further up the feather and quite straight as well. So you can see there's quite a lot more curl to get a lot more fluff at the end of the feather. I'll do another one as well. Again, finger and a thumb, rest your scissors, and nice long straight cuts up through your feather shape. I'll see it better actually with my hand in the way. Get the focus right. Cool, so you want a nice pile of these. Going to create all that lovely fluffy look to the feathers, like on this guy here, where you kind of start to lose the shape of the feathers, they all blend into one another, which is really effective in creating a real fluffy underside to your wing, whereas opposed to the tops, as I said before, they very much keep their shape because you've just gone around the edges of each feather. On the underside, want it nice and fluffy. So grab your wings, make sure you've got the right side facing up, and instead of going with the bottom diagram like we did before, we're going to go with the top diagram up here. And this is kind of a rough guide for you really. The way the feathers are laid out on here, you won't actually notice much of this shape when you come to put your feathers in, because these are long cuts and they're all going to blend into each other. So all you'll notice is maybe the occasional line throughout. But if you use it as a rough guide, like you did with the top section of the owl down here, it just gives you a rough guide of where to stick your feathers as you go. And you probably notice as well, if you look closely enough, which way the feathers are overlapping. Because on the bottom one down here, you start the feathers, the very first one you start at the top of the wing and work your way down to the body. Back up to the top of the wing to the body. But the front view, we start near the body and we work our way up towards the top of the wing. And the second row again, you start near the body and work your way up to the wing. So it's just a slight flip, whichever side of the owl you're working on. So I'm going to start where the body would be on my wing, right at the very base of the wing down here, and the very first one on the first row. You'll see on the diagram too. And I'm going to get some nice extra long, big fluffy feathers for down here, because you'll notice on here there is a slight overlap, if you can see. So where the fluffy feathers join the body, there is, I'm trying to focus on that for you, there's a slight overlap coming in here. You want to layer a few of these fluffy feathers up so that you get that effect, and you blur the lines between the body and the wing then. So the first one laid down is going to be very much close up to that edge. And if, like me, glue's gone everywhere, sorry, typical of this glue, spills. These few feathers at the very back of the wing, get it in focus for you, is, so these ones here, they're slightly overlapping, and what will happen is this point will be the point of contact to your owl's body. So I don't want my fluffy feathers to go beyond the end of the wing support, because if you imagine the body's slotted in nice and flush to that, you won't see any of this, it'll be stuck to the body as well. So on the reverse, this overlaps the body slightly. If that makes any sense. Does a little bit to me, it's hard to describe sometimes. So my first feather I'm going to lay down will be on that line of the support. So again, as you've done before, just glue the underside of the feather. Now I'm using the wing support, the edge, if you like, of that wing support all along as a rough guide, same as the diagram, where my feathers are going to lay. But the feathers want to come slightly over the top of it. So you don't want to see the edge of this, you want it to be hidden, but it's a guide. So I place my feather on, but I'm going to push it a bit further down so I can't see the wing support at all once all the feathers are laid on top. Okay, so you get your first feather down like that. And I'm actually going to lay 3 or 4 in that bottom corner to start with, because I want them to be a lot of fluff and texture down here. So I wanted to blur the line between the body and the wing. So I'm really building up some feathers down here. And the more you layer these fluffy feathers, you'll realise how much texture and body you can bring into your wing. So if I could lift this up slightly, at the very back, you get to expose a bit of that wire and also give you an idea of where the body's going to sit when that comes in flush to the body. Okay. So I'm just going to continue my line all the way up now to the top of the wing, making sure each feather slightly overlaps the last. Give it a little blend with your fingers as well, so all the little fringes, they find their way into each other, so you get a nice little loss of shape to the feathers. Just tease them in. Quite a few have been asking about the bodies themselves for this owl. So as I said before, the owl here that I've made quite a few of now, I've made a silicone mould from a wooden body I originally carved. But that silicone mould is at the studio at the moment, and with the current situation I can't get to the studio at the moment, so I'm afraid I can't make any bodies for anyone and ship them out. But I wanted to sort of give you some sort of body to make, so I'm thinking about a few different options for the bodies. I don't know if you want to let me know which one suits you best, what materials you have lying around, because here in my flat I've got some air dried clay, some sort of, well, it's epoxy putty really that I can use to create the shape, or I can use wire and tape, which might not look so good on this scale because it's quite small, but you could create something with that, and maybe a skin of, I don't know, like papier-mâché or something on top. That could work nicely, and then paint it afterwards. Or we could go down the 2D route, so you could create a kind of 2D, 3D looking layered up paper owl body. So you imagine you create the face on top of a body shape, and then your wings slot into either side and your tail underneath. I'm not sure which you'd prefer to see, so maybe drop me in the comments an idea of what materials you have, what you'd like to see me give an example of, because obviously this is tailored for you being at home as well as me, so I'd like to help you out. I'd like you to be able to make the whole owl as well. I don't want it just to be the wings and the tail. Kind of defeats the purpose really then. That's only half a job as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the body, so let me know. Don't know if you can see the texture starting to build up down here. Again, the focus on this, sorry, I'll get it on there. So you can see the wing support shape is disappearing, so I'm going just over the edge of the wing support. So all you see are the flight feathers and then fluff. So I'm going to continue my line all the way up to the edge of the top of the wing. Now these fluffy feathers, I don't know, I find them very satisfying. They're really good feathers for bodies, and they actually work really well for hair even. So I've made bears and rabbits and things with this sort of feathering technique, if you like. If you manage to really cut long and deep into your feather shapes, you can create really good fur texture that blends into each other. You just got to be careful you follow the contours of the body. Just make sure you keep looking back at reference photos of what you're making. That's the best way of recreating what you want to make. I think I said it in a previous video of always looking at your source material. either photos or drawings. The longer you don't look at it, the further away from how you want it to be it will be. So I think you can tell I'm very loosely basing it on this. Because I've got the wing support shape, I can go by that. Don't so much need the template. But I think for the second line you might just need, just for a space guide on how far back to push the second row. I'm also loving the pictures of your workspaces you're sending through. They're really nice to see. None of you are that messy actually, quite surprised. My workspace always gets covered in glue and paper and all sorts. I'm not sure if you're tidying them up slightly before you've taken the photo. I know what it's like. You don't want to show all the mess, do you? Right, very nearly near the top now. Can't really see any of that wing support, which is good. Some really nice textures now throughout the whole front of the wing. Okay. So that is our first row. Coming a bit closer. So you can see how it's built up quite nicely now. Again, if I cover up that messy bit with my thumb, you can see much nicer how that texture's working and blending into each other. Great stuff. So now I'm ready to start the second row. And again, we're starting in at the body and working our way up to the top of the wing. Now you might have to start trimming your feathers down now before sticking, because you get less and less of the wing to stick to. You start to lose room at the top. Now another thing with this as well is this front drawing I've done of the owl. There are a hell of a lot of tiny little feathers towards the top of the wing, and I don't want you to worry about creating that many feathers. I certainly don't. I did the drawing before I started making them really, and those size feathers are quite impractical towards the top, and because you're doing very fluffy ones, you don't even see that there's a tip there as they all blend into each other. So do as many as it takes to get to the top, rows and feathers wise, and that you're happy with. That's kind of my go-to with everything I make really, is kind of go quite organically throughout what you're making. And I think that will, you know, organic feel makes it feel much more natural and real in a way, rather than being forced and almost like it's been made like a machine, the same every time. That becomes really boring as well if you're making lots of them. So let it flow. I don't know if you can see that second row coming through now, and I don't know if you notice the fact that the line shows, but you start to lose the edges of the feathers quite a lot in the first row, sorry. So sticking to the diagram, you don't need to do that. at all. Just go with the flow. Let me know if I witter too much as well. Yeah. If you prefer silence while I'm making. Feels a bit weird being silent. When I usually am on my own making stuff, I don't talk to myself like this all the time. Very occasionally. Again, you notice that fan of the feather, or every feather on the wing, sorry, how they follow the flight feathers, as if the wing has opened up. You want to try and keep that flow going with every feather you stick down, otherwise it looks a bit weird and rigid. We don't want that, we want natural. Unless you're making a robo owl or a steampunk owl, that might look quite cool. Apologies for the light in here as well today. It's a very dark day outside. Been very lucky with the weather recently, it's been really nice and bright, but today is a bit cloudy. So apologies if it's a bit dark. Hopefully you can see what's going on. Not just my voice and pitch black. So row 2 is on. You can see how much more texture is on this side already compared to the back of the wing. Completely different look and feel to it. That's a nice part about cutting these feathers in 2 different styles. And also you can start to really think in your head how you can play with that texture, as I say, like making animals with fur and all sorts of things really. It's a really satisfying and beautiful process. It really doesn't look like paper anymore, which is something that fascinated me at the start. Sort of playing with people, they have to come closer to see what it is, and maybe touch it and stroke it. Number 3 is taking shape. Again, you can go back in there with your fingers and really blend the edges together, just to get a real fluffy texture in there. And this is when the wing really starts to feel like a full wing, which is really amazing, because you're getting texture on both sides. You can really sort of see how it's going to look. And you've actually finally lost that wing support as well, which is pretty ugly under there. But it serves a good purpose, so we do need it. Because you can really bend your wing shape now. You see, the armature really helps in shaping your owl's flight, which is good. Tap in, you can see that texture really coming through now. Also then the light passes through, again, it's very pretty. Cool. Move that out because the focus seems to go over here for some reason. I don't really know why. I'll bring it back down to this owl feather. Wing I'm working on now might be helpful. You can see what's going on. Awesome. So nearly row 3 finished. Go. So there's loads of texture in there now. It's starting to really show all that lovely hard work in the cutting as it layers up. Looks really beautiful, and again, so different to the back. No, quite. I can see the time's flying by already on this video, so I don't want to keep you much longer. So what I'll say is, we're going to continue, so I'll do one more row, so a 4th row of fluffy feathers at the top, and then leave it there before, remember I said about the ridge feathers we do, to hide all the mess on the top of the ridge of the wing. We'll do those in the next video, so you can finish the wings off and make them look pristine and seamless, so they look natural, so that you can't see how it's made in a way. Get people looking nice and close at it going, whoa, how do you do that? That's what I want your wings to look like. Okay, so you got the back done, front done, and then we'll get the edge done for the next video, which I'm looking forward to seeing all your wings completed. It's going to be really exciting to see. Do keep on tagging me in them, so hashtag escape with feathers, and then they all get collated on Instagram, so if you put that into the search as well, hashtag escape with feathers, you get to see everyone else's all lined up, which is really nice actually. You get to compare them, see what different people are doing, colours wise, shapes wise. It's lovely. But yeah, thanks so much for sharing with me. Thanks for joining me again. And the next video, we'll do the edge. Okay guys, thanks so much again. Cheers.